Hello, Cinemaster lovers. Welcome back.
You put stone on top of stone.
I hope you're ready for an exciting experience because we've got something special for you today. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, and let's dive right into the action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get started. Our film begins at a time when a disease called the Black Plague was spreading everywhere. This disease was spreading so much that there was no cure to stop it. The truth is, all of this was due to an evil witch who wanted to eliminate all people in this way and make the entire earth under the rule of her witch society. She had many magical powers and used them to control and build her empire. But at the same time, there was a group of witch hunters known as the Knights. These knights were very brave, and their main mission was to protect people from these evil witches. That's why a large group of these knights decided to attack the Black Witch's lair to kill her. When they arrived, they encountered great resistance from the witch's followers, who attacked them. However, the knights did not surrender and continued the battle with great courage. Despite this, the power of the witch's black magic was so strong that most of the knights couldn't withstand it and died in the battle. Some sacrificed themselves to complete the mission. The leader of these knights was named Calder, and he was determined to finish off the Black Witch and free humanity from her. After fighting the witches in his path, he finally reached the Black Witch herself. Calder used his magic sword and struck the Black Witch, who was about to complete her ritual. But the sword disrupted her at the last moment, and her magical ritual stopped, causing her to weaken and disappear. Before dying, the Black Witch placed her hand on Calder's heart and cursed him with a curse. This curse was to make him immortal and unable to die. People might think that immortality is a blessing, not a curse, but Calder saw it quite differently. The witches were responsible for spreading the disease that wiped out Calder's family and everything he loved, meaning Calder had no reason to live. He had planned that after finishing off the witches, he would sacrifice himself and die. But now, the Black Witch had forbidden him from dying with the curse she placed on him. Calder accepted his new fate, living forever as part of the Black Witch's curse. Years passed, and we reached the present era. We see a plane flying in the sky with Calder on board, trying to adapt to the new times. 100 years had passed, and Calder was still alive because of the curse, never to die. Calder was the last of the witch hunters left, and his role was to protect people from the evil witches. Calder worked with an organization called Action Sword, and his job was to travel everywhere and protect people from the witches' threat. While on the plane with the other passengers, he noticed that the weather around him suddenly began to change for the worse. When he focused more, he understood that what was happening was a result of black magic. This magic was certainly the work of a witch, and he was entirely sure there was a witch on the plane. So he started searching everywhere on the plane to find out where she was. After a while, he managed to find one of them, a young girl. The truth is, a long time ago, there was an agreement between humans and witches to live together in peace. The witches, who looked terrifying, decided to disguise themselves as humans and live among them. But not all witches followed these rules. There were witches who broke these rules and killed humans to take their power. Calder's mission was to hunt down these dangerous types of witches and capture them. Now Calder found himself in front of this young witch girl and asked her why she was doing this. When he opened her bag, he discovered she had magical stones that controlled the weather, which the witches used in their rituals. Calder quickly took these stones from her. The young witch explained to him that she didn't know these stones would cause all this destruction, so she handed the stones to Calder easily. Calder quickly nullified the stones' effects and kept them with him. The young witch was frightened and asked if he intended to imprison her, but Calder told her not to worry, since her intention was not to harm anyone, and she admitted her mistake, so her mistake was forgiven. After that, the weather returned to normal, and the plane landed safely. Then he went to his hotel and stayed in his room for a while. Suddenly, an old man named Dolan appeared in front of him. His real name was Dolan 36, and he was the leader of the Action Sword organization. Calder had worked with 35 leaders before him, and Dolan was the 36th leader. Dolan told Calder that he would retire tomorrow, but Calder wasn't very affected by this because he had worked with many before him. However, Calder gave Dolan a pen as a memento of their time working together. The next day, Calder heard the news of Dolan's death. It wasn't clear if it was a natural death or if someone had killed him. Calder wanted to know the truth, so he started working with the new Dolan, the leader they had chosen. When a leader dies or retires, a new leader is chosen to help Calder fight the witches, so the organization's work can continue. Now Calder and the new Dolan went to the old Dolan's house to investigate the matter and find out what happened. But when they entered the house, everything looked very normal. However, Calder found no evidence of black magic in the place until the new Dolan suddenly found some strange insects on the ground. These insects were of the type used in black magic. When Dolan told Calder about what he found, Calder used a particular powder and sprinkled it all over the place. Indeed, sparks began to emerge, confirming that black magic had been performed there. Gradually, the hidden black magic in the room began to reveal itself. That's why he quickly jumped out of the window with Dolan. In the next moment, a massive explosion occurred inside the house, returning everything to its original state. It was clear that whoever performed the black magic had hidden many things in the place so no one would know what he had done. But the question now is, who was behind Dolan's murder in this way? Calder decided that he needed to find out the truth. While investigating the place, he found some items related to black magic. He took them and went to an antique shop that sold rare items. In this shop, there was a man working on collecting strange objects. Calder asked him who bought these items and when. The man was blind, but he could smell a particular scent and told Calder that the person who bought these items smelled like apples. When Calder heard this information, something became clear to him. He decided to move quickly with Dolan to another place, as if he had discovered the killer. Later, they arrived at a very old house where an evil sorcerer lived. When they entered, they found a little girl sitting there. However, Calder suspected that she was the evil sorcerer transformed into the form of a little girl to deceive anyone and escape easily. Then Calder used his weapons and forced the sorcerer to return to his true form. The sorcerer transformed from the shape of the little girl to his normal shape, and Calder captured him easily. After a while, Calder confirmed that he was the one who killed Dolan. Even the pen that Calder had inflicted on the old Dolan was still with the sorcerer, which was evidence that he was the real killer. Calder took the sorcerer to the place where he imprisons all evil witches and sorcerers, but he still had doubts. Why was so weak sorcerer like him kill someone like Dolan? Calder was sure that someone bigger was orchestrating things from behind the scenes and that he still hadn't discovered the whole truth. At the same time, Calder noticed that the pen he inflicted on Dolan began to release a small insect from him. When he focused on it, he remembered something that happened long ago. This insect was evidence of the same type of insects used by the Black Witch when she spread the dangerous disease. The Black Witch used these insects to spread the disease, which affected people and put them in a complete coma, meaning that their minds were still alive but their bodies were completely paralyzed. It seemed like this disease was returning in the same old way through the insects she used. He began to think that she might be preparing for her return, and that she used black magic to kill Dolan. To be sure, Jerry Calder checked Dolan's coffin and began to search it thoroughly. It turned out that Dolan was not actually dead, but affected by magic and in a coma, like many people affected by the same magic. Calder realized that the only way to save Dolan and all the affected people was to find the person spreading this black magic and kill them. He had to face and kill her. If he didn't do this within 3 days, the coma would become permanent, and people would remain in this state for the rest of their lives. Calder was determined to save Dolan by any means necessary, so he began to search for any clues that could lead him to the Black Witch to defeat her. In the midst of his search, he remembered Dolan's words when he said, "If you want an answer to any question, go back and remember the moment you were cursed." He decided to go back and open the old books that contain the secrets of magic and reflect on the memories of when the Black Witch cursed him. His memories took him back to the time when he killed the Black Witch and the moment she grabbed his heart and cursed him. Despite all his attempts to remember all the details, he couldn't recall much because these events happened many years ago and his memories of them had become blurry. But he was determined to try to retrieve these memories by any means. He decided to go to a bar known for people going there to relax and relieve their worries. After Calder went to the bar quickly, hoping that if he relaxed a bit, his memories might return. When he arrived, he went to a woman named Lori, who made magical drinks with different herbal and magical mixtures. Calder told her everything that happened and said he needed a magical drink to bring back his old memories. Initially, Lori was hesitant and not trusting Calder because he was a sorcerer hunter, and she was also a sorcerer but living peacefully. But after hearing from him about the danger that could return if she didn't do what he asked, she agreed to help him. She began making the magical drink using herbs and some types of black magic. After a while, the drink was ready, and she gave it to Calder. Calder drank the drink immediately, and in the next moment he found himself in a world of memories. His mind went back to the time when he was with his family. When he was fighting, he saw himself receiving the curse that made him immortal. It was as if he was watching these events from afar, trying to understand what happened at that time. Suddenly, a man named Villiard appeared in the bar, a dark and dangerous sorcerer. He began destroying the entire bar for no apparent reason and attacked Calder severely, wounding him badly. Calder was in pain but couldn't do anything because the effect of the magical drink Lori gave him was still working on him to retrieve his memories. In this state, Calder couldn't respond to Villiard or defend himself. Villiard took advantage of the situation, set the bar on fire, and threw Calder into the flames. But Villiard didn't know that Calder was immortal and couldn't easily be killed by any attack. After a while, Calder managed to come out of his meditative state in his memories. Since the bar was completely destroyed and Lori had disappeared, He searched the place and found a small piece of cloth belonging to Villiard that had fallen to the ground when Calder was fighting him. The cloth had some dust on it, so Calder used his magical abilities to find Villiard's location through this dust. Calder didn't waste time and quickly set out to save Lori because she was innocent of what happened and was helping him sincerely. In the end, he managed to find the place where Villiard was trying to take Lori to another world far away, but Calder didn't give up and managed to rescue Lori and get her out of there. However, Lori was very weak after what happened, so Calder preferred to escape with her instead of fighting at that time to protect her. At that time, he knew he had to move quickly to keep Lori safe because it was now known that she had helped him and had become a target for his enemies. When Lori regained consciousness and awareness, he began to explain to her that her life was in danger because she helped him and promised to stay by her side to protect her. But he wanted Lori to make him the magical drink again to fully retrieve his memories. But Lori told him that the herbs she used to make the drink were burned in the bar's destruction and that she didn't have any of them now. However, she said she had a friend who worked in a garden full of magical plants and herbs. If they could get some of them, she could make the drink again. Calder and Lori quickly set out to that place, but they found Lori's friend, who was also a sorcerer, killed. When Calder saw the situation, he immediately realized that Villiard was responsible because he didn't want Calder to retrieve his memories and understand what was happening. That's why he was targeting anyone who could help Calder. They were frustrated because they had only one option, and even that was gone. All the herbs Lori used to make the liquid had disappeared from the garden, but Lori told them there was another solution. She knew a sorcerer who could make the liquid directly, but they need to be careful because these witches are against witch hunters, meaning they will definitely try to attack Calder. After that, Lori immediately took them to the evil witch. This witch was very famous because she used black magic to achieve fame and influence and lived in a big castle. When Calder told her that he needed to enter his memories to understand what happened and that he needed her help, the evil witch hesitated to help him. She cast a magical spell on him and trapped him inside his memories. Here, Calder became completely lost among his memories with his family and couldn't distinguish between fantasy and reality. If things remained like this, he would remain trapped and unable to escape. But after a while he was inside his fantasies with his family, Lori suddenly appeared to him there. It became clear to us that she is actually a witch with the ability to enter anyone's dreams or fantasies. Lori immediately entered Calder's fantasies and started trying to get him out of them, because that was the only solution to bring him back to reality. After a while, Calder understood what was happening and regained his consciousness. Calder was able to defeat the evil witch and absorb her entire book. The evil witch was finished. After that, Calder took Lori with him, and they left from there. But now he had a new idea when he learned that Lori was asked to enter his old fantasies to see what he was seeing when he was consuming the herbs that made him see his fantasies. Calder asked her to enter directly into his mind and see what he wanted to see. At first, Lori refused, but Calder insisted until she agreed. Here, Calder sat with her and gave her permission to enter his mind. Lori gathered her focus and began using her abilities to walk inside dreams. Lori entered Calder's mind immediately and went to the time when Calder and many warriors were fighting the Black Witch. The Black Witch at that time cursed Calder with the curse of being immortal. After she cast the curse, she burned completely. But the astonishing thing was that her heart was still alive and beating. The warriors who were with Calder at that time tried to get rid of the Black Witch's heart, but every time they tried to destroy the heart, Calder would feel the same pain. They understood that if they destroyed the witch's heart, Calder would die too. That's why the warriors decided to keep the heart, so that Calder would remain alive and the legend of the warriors would continue. Calder and Lori saw everything about them, and now they understood the truth. Here, Calder discovers that the Black Witch's heart still exists, meaning there is a chance she could come back to life again. Calder was sure that he was the one who attacked the old man Dolan and stole the heart from him because he wanted to bring the Black Witch back to life. He was also likely the one who spread the Black Plague that killed Dolan. Suddenly, we see Willard with the Black Witch's heart. He was performing the magical rituals that would bring her back to life. He sacrificed someone and hung himself on a tree, placing insects on him. After he finished the rituals, he placed the witch's heart beside her. But at that moment, Calder arrived at the place, but it was too late because the rituals were completed and the Black Witch's body began to reassemble and her organs to reconnect. After the heart returned to its place in her body, she began to awaken again. At that time, Calder decided to kill Willard immediately because he was the reason for everything that happened. If he hadn't performed these rituals, the Black Witch wouldn't have come back to life. After that, Calder went to confront the witch and kill her, but she put her hands on him and removed the curse that had made him immortal all these years. As a result, Calder became a normal human and couldn't heal again when injured. His condition was very bad, so he had to flee, and the Black Witch disappeared from the place. Calder returned to their hideout, and when he arrived there, he discovered that the old Dolan had come back to life because Calder killed Willard, who had cast a spell on him. Here, Dolan began explaining to Calder how the Black Witch came back to life but is currently weak. To regain her strength, she will try to gather the rest of the witches and absorb their powers. That's why Calder must be careful in the upcoming confrontation. After that, Calder told Dolan that he expected the Black Witch to come to the main headquarters because they were holding the rest of the witches there, making it an ideal place for her to increase her power. That's why they had to prepare for the big confrontation that was coming. After that, he asked Dolan to rest and headed straight to the weapons room. He started preparing his various weapons. Even though he no longer had any supernatural powers, he knew it was his duty to prevent the return of the Black Witch, no matter the cost, even if his own life was the price. Here, Calder, without wasting any time, took Lori and Dolan and went straight to their hideout and the rest of the witches. When they arrived there, they discovered that the Black Witch had arrived before them. She was absorbing the energy of all the captive witches there. She gathered them all in a magical circle to increase her energy and began spreading the worst plague again to eliminate all humans and leave control to the witches only. Calder, who was holding his sword, tried to break the magical circle the Black Witch had created, but the circle was very strong and couldn't be broken from the outside. At that time, Lori used her ability to walk inside dreams and entered the mind of one of the witches in the circle. Inside her dream, she managed to kill the witch, and thus the magical circle was completely broken. Everyone inside it fell to the ground. The rituals the Black Witch was performing were disrupted, and she began to weaken, meaning she wouldn't be able to spread the worst plague again. Calder stood in front of the Black Witch and started attacking her with the sword. Despite not being immortal anymore, he still had his combat skills and was resisting her very well. But suddenly, the new Dolan aimed his weapon at Lori. Here it became clear that the reason was that Calder had killed the father and mother of the new Dolan in the past because they were evil witches. The new Dolan wanted to take revenge on him. He shot Calder in the chest, causing him to fall to the ground in pain. Now the Black Witch was in an easy position, and there was no one to stand in her way. She went back to completing the magical rituals. This time, the Black Witch included Lori in the magical circle, which increased the circle's power even more. She began to complete her plan to spread the Black Plague everywhere and control humans. Dolan thought that by helping the witch, she would spare him, but as soon as she was done with him, she used black magic and killed him. She knew that witches don't make friendships with humans. At this moment, the Black Witch was succeeding in executing her plan. If this happened, all humans would be in danger. Calder was dying inside an old factory and began to imagine his family with a faint light shining on his face. In his imagination, he heard his family's voice telling him that his time hadn't come yet. He needed to go save the humans and stop the Black Witch. Calder received their message as he heard their voices and knew he still had a mission ahead of him. Calder grabbed the magical stones that changed the weather, which he had taken from one of the sorcerers. He threw it into the air and indeed, the weather suddenly changed. Lightning began to strike everywhere. This caused the Black Sorceress to get confused and lose her focus. Calder took advantage of the opportunity and quickly grabbed his sword and transferred part of the lightning into it. He struck her without wasting time and transferred this energy directly into her body. He struck her with the sword in her chest. At that moment, the Black Sorceress couldn't defend herself. As a result of the powerful blow, her entire body was completely destroyed. Calder could defeat her, but knew that this wasn't the end because her heart was still beating. As long as her heart was alive, she could come back to life. Calder was going to destroy the Black Sorceress's heart using his sword, but Lori told him not to do that because destroying the heart would also kill him. If he died, there would be no one to stop the evil sorcerers and protect humanity. This made Calder think, especially since he was hearing the same message from his family in his imagination, that his time hadn't come yet, and there might be a reason for that. So Calder decided to refuse the idea of destroying the heart and didn't do it. Instead, they decided to hide the heart in a safe place in his house where no one could reach it. Later, we see Calder and Dowling sitting together, and Calder says he doesn't want to continue his work with them, but is ready to help them capture the evil sorcerers. After that, he went to Lori, and they agreed to start a new journey together. And the movie ends. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button to get more new videos. See ya!